Here's more on Chris Hansen's now disappointing career. That's next. Welcome back to the More Channel Shakers. Derek Van Shake here.
Derek Van Shake. Derek Van Shake. Why does that name sound so disturbingly familiar?
This is a moron video from a video on my main channel about Chris Hansen, the guy who speaks like a turtle.
Exactly why?
Yeah, as you saw in my main channel video, it was just ridiculous of how Chris Hansen...
I'm Chris Hansen.
...was willing to pretty much do and say anything for money. Here's the thing, too, we want to make very clear, is that, yes, everyone does things for money. Sure, that's not the issue of, saying things or doing things for money. But when you're just seemingly saying things and doing things and it's only for money, that's the problem. Then it's just like, well, what do you stand for? What do you believe in then? If you're just willing to say anything for money, like it seems Chris Hansen is willing to do. And that's the curious thing about Chris Hansen. It was just like, dude, you're just willing to say anything? Like just anything? Someone's willing to pay you and you're just willing to say it? And here's the thing too about Chris Hansen. I don't necessarily think that Chris Hansen was really getting paid that much to say all the things that he was asked to say. I don't think he really valued his word as much as he probably should. He was just sort of like, hey, I'm a TV spokesperson. I mean, I just say words and people want me to say words and I'll say those words and I'll be on camera and I'll get paid. I don't think he was actually getting paid that much, which is also a little sad too, because he was just blatantly getting ripped off. His reputation was totally getting soured and dragged through the mud, and he was of course letting it all happen, but I don't even think he was getting paid that much. I'm sure he was only getting paid a few $1,000s to totally soil his whole career. You think about that political smear commercial, right? How much do you think he was actually paid for that political smear commercial? Probably not that much. He was just doing these little jobs for a few $100s, a few $1,000s, at a time, just whatever he can get because, okay, he'll pay me some money here. I'll say that. Okay, I can use a couple $1,000s, not knowing that couple $1,000. Yeah, you'll get that couple $1,000. Yeah, who doesn't want a couple $1,000? But at what cost? At what cost are you getting that few $1,000s? To make that political smear commercial and making you known as the person who's willing to say anything for money. And I don't think any of that was necessarily going through his head. He was just like, dude, I just say words and people pay me and people want me to say words. I'll say whatever words you want me to say. What do you want me to say? I'll just say them and I'll get money. I just need money. And as you know, and as I know, that's not how you grow yourself to be respected in media. By just saying anything as long as you get paid a couple bucks. And the reason why people are willing to pay him anything is because of him and the thing that he grew and his reputation that he had, his good reputation he had for so long that he didn't sell out to for so long. And now he's like, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Time to sell out. And as you all saw, Chris Hansen has a lot more problems than just selling out his name and willing to say anything. Yeah, it's terrible for his career because he's soiling his name, and it's deceitful to us because we all know him as the voice of justice, and he's just all of a sudden selling that out now, and we're all just like, wait, you're just saying anything for money? But even further than that, he's willing to sell out stories that he's been working on with the YouTube community, that big thing that he has been working on his YouTube channel, getting a whole bunch of guests on and interviewing them and going to Onision's house and doing that Onision investigation, just seemingly selling that out. Sell it away. Why not? Someone wants to pay me money? I'll take whatever cash grab I can get. And it's so sad for us to see him take cash grab after cash grab after cash grab. It's like, dude, we knew you as the voice of justice, and now you're just willing to say anything for money, even if it's something that's kind of a scam with what he was doing with John Crestani. Is that John Crestani thing a scam or is it just shady? It doesn't matter because Chris Hansen built his career as the voice of justice, and he's just coming across as kind of shady, at least now, and it's terrible for his perception. It's terrible for anybody everybody who has been following him and relying on him with the investigations that he was doing on his YouTube channel, that he would continue to do them, that he would do them honestly and fairly, and that he would try to find the truth. What we typically do in these moron videos is give you additional insight into some of the investigation, into some of the body language. So if you want more on the main channel videos, hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss out on more moron videos. What Chris Hansen was doing throughout most of his Q&A that you saw was deflecting and amplifying. That's very common of someone who is deceitful. It's also very, very effective. The reason why it's just so effective is because the subject doesn't really have to lie that much, because all they have to do is amplify the allegations, take the most extreme version of the allegation and tell the truth that that's not true. And that's what Chris Hansen was doing a lot, amplifying the claims.
Tried to make this look like somehow I backed Pablo Escobar.
Denying those amplified claims to come across as more truthful.
That couldn't be farther from the truth.
And then going and deflecting.
I covered the cocaine wars in the 80s and 90s. I was in the jungles of Bolivia with the DEA raiding cocaine labs.
It's very, very effective for someone who is deceitful. And you may be wondering, why would someone go through that instead of just telling a bold-faced lie? It's because lying is very difficult, it's very stressful, it's very dangerous, and it's very uncomfortable and everything else around that, right? A lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, like it's just not fun to lie. It's a lot easier to tell the truth. So if you can easily go and amplify and then deny those amplified allegations, you're in a lot better position to come across as more truthful. Until you have people calling you out and saying, hey, that wasn't the question I asked you. Chris Hansen was in an ideal position where he was in complete control over what questions he decided to answer or not answer, because the questions were coming in and he can just take the most extreme question, the most outrageous question, over the top. See, that's the thing. He was not being interviewed one-on-one. He was picking and choosing the questions that he chose to answer. So he got to pick all the extreme questions and then just deny those extreme allegations against him to come across as more truthful. If it was a sit-down interview, the interviewer would be asking middle-of-the-road questions where he wouldn't be able to just deny the most extreme question that would come through in the chat. And in a one-on-one interview, the interviewer would be able to ask him follow-up questions so he wouldn't be able to just deflect and divert and just skate around the question. So the point is that in Chris Hansen's Q&A, he really set it up as to be most beneficial to him because he was in control of the whole thing. He didn't have someone else there that would hold him accountable, follow up with questions, and to make sure certain questions get answered, and he's just not going to be able to just deflect. Chris Hansen also talked about the allegations against him that he just blocks everyone from Twitter. Anyone who said anything negative about him, he just can't take, so he just blocks them from Twitter.
What's with the Twitter blocks for legitimate criticism? I never went low and attacked you as a person. If you're going to say something that's just mean or something that I feel constitutes harassment, then I have no problem blocking it.
Chris Hansen says that he does that because he tries to keep his Twitter community safe and make sure that no one's a bully and no one's saying mean things.
But that's not somebody who's just being critical. I take criticism all the time.
He blocks basically everybody. If you look at the list of people he blocked, like people just coming out everywhere saying he blocked me, he blocked me. And guess what? Chris Hansen also made his Twitter private. This public figure who has over 100,000 Twitter followers made his Twitter private. It actually makes a lot of sense for how he was acting in the main channel video, that he didn't want to take any responsibility. He didn't want to take any fault. It was all just one big misunderstanding. He didn't want to take fault for anything, which makes sense why his Twitter is also private, because he doesn't want any criticism. He doesn't want people like me to make a video or to be tagged. He just can't take it. It's just too painful. And I get it. Some people just can't take the criticism. Some people just don't want that, criticism or spotlight on them. They just want to live their life and not get any criticism. Fine. But you can't be a public figure and not get any criticism. That's just part of the game. You have to have criticism to be a public figure. If you have no criticism, I can pretty much tell you, you're not really a public figure, you know? People just don't know you that much. Me, I don't block anyone from Twitter. In the past, I've actually had haters who've asked me to block them on Twitter. And what do you think? Did I block them? No, of course I didn't block them. Why would I block them? That's just part of the game. That's just part of being a public figure, is to have haters. If you don't have haters, you're not that much of a public figure. So Chris Hansen made his Twitter account private and clearly because he just can't take the criticism. But that's the thing too. Some criticism is important. It's important to have those critics. It's actually very helpful to hear from your audience, even when they have some critical things to say about you. It's all part of the give and take in social media. You know, I or Chris Hansen put something out there, and then you get feedback from your audience, and you take that feedback and you try to digest it and then improve based on that feedback. But it seems like Mr. Mainstream Media, Chris Hansen, doesn't want any of that direct feedback. And if you have something to say, yeah, write it in the chat, and then he'll divert from it and not really answer it, and then, you know, figure out a way to weasel his way around it and try to come across as truthful so he can continue his cash grab schemes. And again, I think it's the difference in mindset of a mainstream media mindset of, okay, I'm going to work on a big project, put it out there, and everyone is just going to enjoy it and shut up. Versus social media of, I'm going to put something out there, I'm going to get some feedback, I'm going to take that feedback and improve myself, and then put something else out there that's going to be even better because of that feedback that I just received. That's the social media mindset. That's the new generation mindset. Chris Hansen is like old school, old guard mindset of, I'm going to make something, I'm going to put it out there, you're going to like it, and if you don't like it, just shut up. The next thing is Chris Hansen's Kickstarter scam.
Where are the rewards for donating to your Kickstarter campaign? It's been over a year. Well, the Kickstarter campaign was well over a year ago. And, you know, there's another example of something that was taken way out of context.
I don't know to what extent it's a scam or just a misunderstanding. But regardless, I think Chris Hansen just didn't communicate very well. As many of you heard and as many of you know, there has been a lot of complaints of people not getting what they have been promised, whether it's like an autographed picture or sneak previews into whatever they were producing or behind the scenes, whatever they were going to offer as a promotional benefit to donors of the Kickstarter campaign. There has been a lot of claims that people just haven't gotten any of that. There has been even someone who is so mad at this that they haven't gotten what they were promised by funding the Kickstarter campaign, that they paid $50 for a Cameo video to ask Chris Hansen for an autographed picture and for everything that they were promised for funding and donating to the Kickstarter campaign.
Best of my knowledge, everything that was promised was presented. I still haven't received that autographed 8x10 from your Kickstarter campaign a few years ago. Can you please address that?
So not everyone got what they were promised at all. And in Chris Hansen's Q&A, when he was answering that question, he was constantly saying, oh, we already filmed that. We already did that. Oh, we already did that. Yeah, we filmed. Very common of someone who is deceitful. He's trying to convince and just not convey.
There was some perception that for some reason we didn't do the show, but we did. We shot that thing and we made the movie. We did the show. That money went to that production, which was completed.
Very common of someone who's being deceitful.
Hansen versus Predators aired on a syndicated show I did for a couple of years called Crime Watch Daily.
Personally, what I think happened is that he did the Kickstarter campaign to do his Crime Watch Daily stuff. I think it might have been tied in somehow with that, or at least that's what he's claiming. He did a few of those sting operations on Crime Watch Daily on the internet. At the very least, Chris Hansen needs to be a lot more clear on where that money goes and where it's going, where it went, to say exactly, okay, you gave me this money went here. Not, oh, well, you know, it cost a lot more than that, and oh, yeah, we already filmed that. What? What kind of vagueness is that? People want to know where their money went. Specifically, what was it? What was it for? Where did it go? And also, what was the expenses? Who got paid? You know, not just, oh, it's just a black box of money that gets thrown everywhere and probably thrown in my safe somewhere. I mean, where did it go? People want to know. It's their hard-earned money. Tell him. He still needs to answer to that. Some of the victims and survivors feel like they were being used by Chris Hansen.
I just want him to address the accusation related to the opinion of the interviewed victims feeling used by him.
Because he just seemed to want the story and just wanted to sell the story, specifically the Onision story. A lot of them came out that they weren't consulted at all by Chris Hansen when he was going to sell the story. It was like, dude, this is not really even your story. It's not even about you. You're just interjecting yourself, taking other people's accounts that make up this story, and then calling it your own, and then going and selling it to a major network. Understandably, the victims, the people who were interviewed by you, are going to be like, wait, you were just interviewing me just to sell this story? Use me as an interview on your channel to get that ad revenue and then take it and offer it to a major network to get paid yourself? It just comes across as so sleazy. And also the same thing with one of Onision's alleged victims, Sarah, and her laptop and phone that she sent to Chris Hansen because understandably she thought like, oh, this is Chris Hansen here, the guy from Dateline NBC. That guy wants my laptop and phone. Surely he has all these really strong connections at the FBI, law enforcement, you know, all these secret government agencies that can really figure things out, and we'll get it to the right place and real quickly and have the right people look at it. No, it just went to Chris Hansen's tech guy to look through. Doesn't he know that looking through a laptop, a phone, is tampering with the evidence? It just possibly makes the evidence void because you have some guy out there, just Chris Hansen, that clearly has it out for Onision, digs his fingers in it, has the evidence himself in his office, and what do you think a good attorney would do? Right, a good attorney would say, this evidence here, this laptop and this phone, it's all void, all void. It went to Chris Hansen, the guy who knocked on Onision's door. Onision's attorney is just going to be like, no, you can't allow that in court. No way. We don't know if it was tampered with by Chris Hansen. Chris Hansen is not an FBI investigator, some law enforcement, nonpartisan, get down to the truth. No, he's just a media personality that would do anything for money.
Escobar Fold 2. It appears to be the best phone out right now.
So clearly, the victims in this case, in the Onision case, would surely feel, yes, like they're being taken advantage of. That Chris Hansen just wanted the story. Chris Hansen just wanted to talk about it. Chris Hansen just wanted the extra scoop. He didn't want to find the truth. He didn't want justice for the alleged victims of Onision. He just wanted some more content for his YouTube channel so he can make more ad revenue. Because as we saw in my main channel video, Chris Hansen will do anything for a buck. Chris Hansen also said in his Q&A that his first YouTube channel, Hansen vs. Predator, yeah, that was abandoned because the whole channel got demonetized.
We tripped one of the algorithms using words like predator and some other things.
That does not happen. That's not how it typically works. And if it did get demonetized because it was called Hansen versus Predator, he could have easily just changed the YouTube channel's name. You can easily do that. So it makes no sense that the whole channel just got demonetized and got kicked off of YouTube, and that's why it doesn't exist anymore. That's not true. What probably happened was that he got too many copyright strikes and the channel was removed from YouTube and he had to start a whole new channel. And that seems to be what really happened. Also, a lot of people claim that Chris Hansen posted some old reruns of To Catch a Predator on his YouTube channel. So what really seemed to happen is that he got too many copyright strikes. And he actually even mentioned that copyright issue in the Q&A.
So we started Have a Seat with Chris Hansen and made it pretty much an interview program because we avoided a lot of the copyright issues and just made it straightforward interview.
Which seems to be the real reason he had to create a new channel. So that Cameo video that Chris Hansen made for me. So when I was making that main channel video, I started to realize that Chris Hansen has basically a template for exactly how he says all of his Cameo videos, which made me realize that since he has a template for exactly how he says everything, and basically he just asks you for, your name and, maybe your screen name and other things you can kind of fill in the blanks there, which made me realize that all I needed to do is make it believable enough where he would introduce himself in my own video against him. So when I put in all my information into the request fields, I made sure that it was believable enough where he wouldn't question it, whether he would look me up or whether he would be suspicious and not want to do the video. I was trying to make sure that he would totally do the video. And yeah, we got him to do the video. It was actually perfect. He introduced himself exactly how I hoped he would. What do you mean by I'm shaking you, Derek?
What do you mean by I'm shaking you, Derek?
And all that Lamborghini stuff that was added on was, of course, maybe a little true, but it was added on to make the whole video seem much more believable. And he wasn't going to just be very skeptical all of a sudden and then say like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to do this video, or I'm not going to say that. I can't have him do that. I needed to have him say, I'm shaking you. That was the number one thing. We needed that. And it worked out. Because it also fits in with him being so gullible that he'll basically say anything, doesn't question anything, just looks at the money and says, what do you want me to say? I'll say it. Is this a name that I really heard before that I should really be aware of? Does that BS detector come flashing on?
You also need what's commonly known as a BS detector.
When that video came in, I could not stop laughing. I was like having a laughing attack. Like I just couldn't stop laughing to actually hear Chris Hansen say my name and then say the exact thing I needed him to say for the video.
Derek Van Shake. Derek Van Shake. Why does that name sound so disturbingly familiar? Maybe because your secret screen name is I'm Shaking You? What do you mean by I'm Shaking You, Derek? Chris Hansen here of Hansen versus to catch a and have a seat with Chris Hansen. Now, Derek, I'm going to need you to have a seat right over there. I've been going through some transcripts, Derek. I don't like what I see. We're still climbing out of a pandemic. You're still supposed to be socially distant, flattening the curve, not racing around town in your Lamborghini, taking young women for rides, grooming them into God knows what. It's a sort of behavior that could land you in a dark kitchen being interrogated by me, having to call your friends, family to throw your bail. Do you think they'd do that for a playboy up to your kind of shenanigans? I don't know. So behave. And if you can, I'll let you go this one time. But you have to promise me you'll stop the bad behavior. In the meantime, I'll be watching. And I'll see you soon on the TV in my YouTube channel with new investigations. Don't be in one, just watch them. I'll be watching you. Stay safe, stay healthy. Don't crash the Lambo.
Now reacting to your comments. Chris Oliver writes, Chris is definitely no saint and is pretty obvious he's in dire need of money, but I do hope to see more Hansen versus Price coming out, LOL. I agree. I mean, I thought they were pretty interesting. I thought they also provided a civic good, and like I said, I don't know for sure how legally correct it is to do what they were doing, but regardless, it was very, very interesting. And, I would like to see more too. A good number of you like that I called Chris Hansen a turtle. You guys have no idea how terrible it was going through all of those Chris Hansen interviews. Typically, when I do a video on somebody, I will watch a lot of their content, a lot of their interviews or whatever they were doing. But with Chris Hansen, it was so terrible. And yes, Chris Hansen does speak like a turtle, 100%. And I'm sorry for all the turtles out there that are offended. Mikhail Linsky writes, kind of sad actually. I enjoyed his past work. Guess being broke has led to his pathetic need to earn some money any way he can. Like I said in my main channel video, I've enjoyed some of his past work too. And now it's just so confusing and just so sad that he would stoop to such low level for money. I mean, is he really in that kind of dire need for money? You know what I mean? You can't tell me he's living bare minimum, scratching the surface, completely poor, living in an apartment that's only like $100 a month. Like, no, of course not. For him to just soil his reputation, just say whatever he has to say to maintain what seems to be a lifestyle, and it's not just to, make ends meet of any sort, just so he's not like on the street. Because I don't think that's the case. He doesn't seem to be one step off of the street, so it's kind of like, you're just doing this to maintain a lifestyle. And instead of trying to grow and build from what you already have, he's just dipping in and constantly eroding away his reputation by saying whatever he has to say to make a couple bucks. Give this video another thumbs up if you think Chris Hansen was disappointing. Give this video a thumbs down if you think Chris Hansen wasn't disappointing at all. Now in the comments, what do you think was the most sleazy cash grab you heard of Chris Hansen do? Let everyone know in the comments below. Remember to hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss out on more on videos from videos on my main channel. And I'll see you at the top.